Hi everybody, welcome back to Kirklees Guitar School. In today's riff lesson, I'm going to teach you to play the main riff to Layla by Eric Clapton, Eric and the Dominos. It's an awesome riff. So before we get into today's class, you can download the tabs for this lesson completely for free from the first link in the description, or you can visit kirkleesguitarschoolonline.co.uk. We have 100 plus free guitar lessons that you can pick through, and also our academy as well, with in-depth courses for every level. You could even book a one-to-one Zoom lesson with me if there's something that you'd like us to work through together. We would love to have you. So this is what we are up against. Now that end note is a little bit spicy, but you see how we've essentially got the main riff at both ends of the neck, and that's what we're going for. So in today's lesson, I'm going to break it all down for you piece by piece, but I'd encourage you to go to the first link in the description and download the tabs so that you can follow along at home. So we'll start with the bit at the bottom of the neck. Now I'm using a Strat today and a JCM 800 plugin. We'll talk about tones at the back end of the video, but we're going to start with this little riff down here. So I'm going to play an open A note and hammer on to the 3rd fret of the A string, hammering from A to C. I'm then going to come down to the D string, and I'm going to do the same, hammer from the open note to the 3rd fret, but then I'm going to pull off in the same motion. Can you see how they're all, 3 notes are all kind of under that one umbrella? So you hammer onto the note, but then pull off as well. Now if you're catching extra strings and there's some reverberations going on, don't worry about it too much. You can tidy it up afterwards. And then I'm going to finish that lick off by going back to that C note on the 3rd fret of the A string. And then I play the open D string with an upstroke. Now if you look at my picking hand over here, I'm using very, very, very strict alternate picking, and that's important because when you're up to tempo, you need to be as economical as you can while you're up to tempo. We're then going to go to power chords, and we're moving from a D, C, and then B flat power chords on fret 5, fret 3, and fret 2, the roots that is, on the A string. Now I'm going to pick this D5 power chord. Now you can either use you'll always want to use the index finger on the lowest note of the power chord, and you can use either your pinky or your ring finger. Today I'm going to use my pinky. So you're going to pick those 2 notes, 5th fret of the A, 7th fret of the D, and I'm going to slide down 2 frets without picking it again. I'm then going to move down 2 more frets, and I'm going to pick it. Try and glue that with the previous chunk. It's quite hard to play this riff slowly because you're so used to playing it. My advice to you would be just try and get between those 2 bits as quick as you can, okay? And it is going to sound a bit disjointed until you've got a bit of muscle memory going. After we've played this B flat note, well, this B flat chord here, we're going to let go with our index finger, and we're going to pick that open A string. Now it's going to sound a little bit weird, is that, until you play the 3rd fret above it. Now can you see how using my pinky there enables me to use my ring finger on that G note of the 3rd fret of the low E string. If you use it, you can use your ring finger for both, either's fine. We're then going to come back to this C5 chord here. Now this note's tied, so what that means is you'll play this C5 chord here, but you need to hang on to it for a little bit longer than there's room left in the bar, so it has to spill over. These notes in brackets are called a tie. You don't need to play them again. We're then going to play the open string again. And then a lot of people go to this 5th fret here. It's actually the 3rd fret. Yeah? And then you're going to round it off back to that D chord. You see how I went to that 5th fret there? You've jinxed me. Pause the video and get that under your fingers first. If you're okay with that so far, we're going to carry on with the... We're going to do that again. And we're going to do the usual walk down like we have done. So we're essentially repeating everything we've covered so far twice before we go up the dusty end. So now would be a really good point. If you feel like you've got enough under your fingers there, spend a week or two on that before you go up the dusty end. If you're ready for it, let's have a look at it. So we've got up to this point, and then instead of doing the lick at the bottom of the neck, we're going to do it all the way up here. Now I'm thinking first position minor pentatonic here. So I'm using my index finger on the 10th fret of the B and hammering into the 13th fret of the same string. Now what I'm using my ring finger there. You could use your pinky if you want, but we're going to need that 13th fret to do a bend later on. So if you're able to stretch it, I would advise that you do so. I'm then going to move down to the high E string and do the same. But like I've done before, you're going to pull off. Hammer on and then pull off back to the 10. Ultimately going back to that C note there on the 13th fret of the B. And you've got the last note there, just like you've before. Pause the video and work between here and here. And underneath, can you see the sheet music underneath it? Those are called semiquavers, and what that's telling you is they're bleeding fast. Are those? It's not. You need to. It's a real. It does catch you out. I was listening to this earlier just to make sure I had all my affairs in order before I presented it to you guys, and you forget how quick it is. We're then gonna, with the ring finger, bend the 13th fret a full step. So we're bending this F note up to a G, and then I bring it back down to pitch and play just the 13 with no bend. Then we're going to go to the 12th fret. Now that 12th fret, I would advise you to use your middle finger there because of where we're going next. See how that's spilling over from the previous bar? We don't need to play it again, but what we are going to do is we're going to play that C note again on the 13th fret of the B string before going back to the root. From there, we do the lick again. Nothing new here, it's just that sort of very quick semiquaver lick. But then what we're going to do is we're going to come up 2 frets to this G note here on fret 15 of the high E string. And instead of bending and then bringing back to pitch on fret 13, we're going to do exactly the same, but on fret 15 this time. It's just 2 notes that just give it a slight bit of variation. But then we continue with the same 12, 13, 10 like last time. So you've got this lovely, and then higher, So only 2 notes difference between the two. Let me show you. I'll put some gain on because why not? And just as before, you go back into the, as if you're going around it a second time like we did previously. Bend on the 13. So that's the second time of going round that. And then on the final time, you've got the... It's pretty much doubles exactly what we've learnt so far. But instead of resolving to the 10th fret at the very end, you're going to play that 13th fret, that C, and you're going to bend it up a half step. Now, you're bending that 13 up, it's a C, you're bending it up to a C sharp. Now, which sounds really odd in the room, but the tonality of the song when it goes into the verses changes and is bending into that next key because that note sustains over into the next part of the song. So it's, if you're practicing that up and it sounds a bit weird, that's okay, but if you're practicing along to the song, it'll make perfect sense. So make sure you're chunking this up into appropriate little do it a phrase at a time. Can you get there? Until you're happy with it, and then can you put... And then can you put the... Break it up into little chunks and little boxes. Now, this is very famously in Clapton's Strat era. I don't know specifically whether it was Blackie or Brownie or another Strat he was using at the time. I have this American standard Strat. I've had this guitar a long time. This was my first proper guitar. It's from the 80s, and it's been played a lot. You can see on the fretboard it's starting to go a little bit, but this is my go-to kind of almost. It does that kind of 80s Clapton Stratty thing really, really well. And then I've got a JTM 45 model on my Quad Cortex with a tube screamer and a clone thrown in front of it. What does that mean? It means quite a bit of overdrive, but because you're playing quite clean phrases, you can afford to use a little bit more gain, but you want to make sure you're still using quite a little bit of treble so it picks through. I'm using the neck pickup on this guitar. If I was using something like this, if I was using a Gibson style guitar, I would probably go for the bridge pickup on this rather than the neck. I think the neck might be a little bit too warm sounding. So, what Clapton lesson would you like me to cover next? I know they've been quite popular recently, so I thought I'd give you this one to have a go at. Let me know down below, and don't forget you can head over to my website and grab loads of free stuff, or if you fancy a Zoom lesson with me, or perhaps enrolling on one of my courses, it's all there for you to take to make the most out of. If you liked this Clapton lesson, there's another one up here that I'd urge you to check out that's been equally as popular as this song, or you can click over here to subscribe to the channel and get notified of the next time I upload a lesson. Thank you so much for watching. I'll see you soon.